Geez. I'm doing quite a few videos today, and it seems like they're back to back. Anyways, Jimmy Dore has been having Dylan Radigan on quite a bit, and Matt Stoller, who seems to be intimately knowledgeable about finances and so on and so forth, as well as the plumbing of how the government and corporations work. Who, however, is completely and utterly unhinged when it comes to China. In that he has that establishment insanity thinking, just as Sagar and Jerry has that establishment insanity thinking part. However, uh, basically, Jimmy Dore has a live stream going on right now. It'd be probably best if you're not watching it to wait until the full thing is put out, probably later today or tomorrow, so that you can watch it. But understand something. What Dylan Radigan and Jimmy Dore have been talking about is something I've been saying on my videos for quite a while. The wealthy and the corporations and the politicians are a mafia. They are a cabal because they are acting like the very legalistic terminology of what mafias do. Uh, if you're listening when you watch Jimmy Dore's live cast, either later today or tomorrow, uh, you're gonna understand that basically they're when I've been calling them super criminals and high criminals and traitors, it's because they're using, and I always say these are stuff that still are on the books, but because they have the label of officials, whether they be a judge, a DA, or the head of the DOJ or the DOD or whatever you want to call it, Supreme Court, federal court, it doesn't matter. If you're a councilman or whatever, it doesn't matter. They're all acting like high criminals. They all are committing treason. And so that is the way we must look at it, because they are clearly doing racketeering and extortion. There is no way to look at it. Whether you're talking about the people that sit on the Fed, who are not part of the government and are a private institution, which should tell you right off, considering everything we've been facing, that being a private institution that controls the money and how they advantage themselves and those who control the levers of money and thereby the land and us collectively. It's it's nothing more than high crimes. You can't look at it any other way, and that's the critical way to look at it. And I've done videos about burning it all down. I've done videos about how the system is generated to uh, keep us playing by their criminal rules, and how they build society, and which is why they use racism, which is why they use ethnicity, which is why they use everything and anything to keep us distracted from coming to the one conclusion, is that we are the ones having the high crimes committed by these so-called legitimate people. AOC, Bernie Sanders, and all those, Ro Khanna, which and these are all people that I talked about in my videos, whom I gave glowing praise. But unlike others who are completely sycophantic, utterly lacking any critical thought, who seem to have lose their principles, morality, ethics, and just tossed it out, and and still give credit, which is not warranted. As I've been saying on my more recent videos, I am done with them. They have demonstrated that they are not part of the citizenry, part of the people who are being hit the most. The ones who are having the high crimes perpetrated on us. We cannot look at these people as anything but traitorous high criminals. I mean, Dylan Reagan explains it perfectly. It is basically they've made it so that those that were wealthy, who've had generations of wealth that's passed down through inheritance and everything else. Those like Bezos, the so-called new money, and Bill Gates, from Apple to Google, Facebook, and so on and so forth. If you, those are the ones who are made to be advantaged, and because it is bankers are basically nothing more than robbers given legitimacy, and their robbery, they should be hit with. They should be all put in front of a court where the people stand in judgment, not the judges who will basically, not basically, they have been continuously upholding the legitimacy of these high criminals. And Dylan Reagan says there are two systems. One is the government and the business and banking and financial and all those and those of old money and new money to extract, make it so that you can extract regardless of the damage, regardless of reality, regardless of morality, ethics, principles, and all that. And the media, which is owned by the wealthy, owned by the corporations, is the verbal bagmen and women who help to keep this extraction going and commit even more more atrocities, because this involves, they should be charged with murder. They should be charged with rape. They should be charged with pillaging, plundering. They should be charged with everything under the sun. This is how we have pedophile rings in organized religion that get away with it. This is how we have that guy, that Epstein, running a pedophile ring with the very criminals that I've been talking about. So when I say they should be charged with rape, yes, they should be charged with rape. The fact that AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and the rest of the squad, and Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders voted for yet another high heist, and the fact that Bernie is saying to people that that support him, that propped him up, that gave him money, like me, and the fact that we need to have money involved in elections, that alone, it's insane. That's why I keep calling it insanity. They should all be charged because they are helping. And because they are helping, they are culpable. They are complicit. It's a matter of being able to see through all the crime committed, through this legitimacy, this idea of legitimacy. And it's just an idea. It's a fabrication, an illusion. And it is time for Americans, as well as Europeans, and all across the West and the rest of the world, to understand this. It is time for us to bring out not only the pitchforks, but a demand with threats, with bodily, physical threats. You do it, you leave, you walk yourself to jail, or we're going to kill you right here, right now. That is what we must do, because they have been using, through the media, through colleges, through other infrastructures, to help them keep the illegitimate, fraudulent, criminal organization together to commit high crimes against each and every single one of us. And so, this whole thing of nonviolent protests, this whole thing of free speech, it's all geared to give them and allow them to hold legitimacy and protect them from what should be universal hatred and anger and outrage. I pointed this out before. How many hundreds of millions have died due to this criminal ideology? Not just in doing these invasion wars, but through economic sanctions, through commodity sanctions, through policies and laws that target a group in the community so that they can detract and distract. Or how they keep They keep leveling taxes all because of this, but that yet they can seem to find trillions to give to themselves. How they allowed what we paid for, like drugs, like how Bill Gates got a monopoly, and how like you have with your cell phones, you got preloaded stuff that you can't even erase, like Facebook and Google. How it's bled into everything, and you need to pay for it. You need to do all. They keep extracting. How arbitration is made to advantage them. What is arbitration? Basically, hey, you got a complaint? You come to us, we're going to give you a big fuck you. We're going to give you a big middle finger and say, no. How we have court systems which screw us in hundreds of ways. How we have how we need to get licensed to go protest or hold an event. This is the sort of stuff that the right talks about, and they're right. There are certain things that we shouldn't have regulations for. But this is all interconnected to keep us servile, docile, and make us into the pigeons, the targets. This is how we bring our children into the world, shackled from the minute they're born. This is how they feed the disease of materialistic gain as being the end all and be all. And this is how they destroy morality. This is how they destroy ethics. This is how they destroy everything. This is how we really don't have a social fabric. This is why we have this idea of individualism when we should have a collectivism. This is how they warp education. This is how they confuse history. This is how they feed the nonsense that we all must be brought into for their gain, for their privilege, for their exception, for their immediate satisfaction, for their obsessions, for their sickness, which bleeds down to the rest of us because we allow it. I don't care if you think you're a Nazi. I don't care if you think you're authoritarian. I don't care if you think you're a libertarian. I don't care if you think you're a conservative, liberal, left. We have to understand that we are our own worst enemy because we cannot come together collectively to understand that those who would be the masters are given that privilege because we do not stand up as a collective. We do not see the obvious, and we do not make them pay in every foreseeable way. They make monstrous, foul people of their own. They clone, they feed this monstrosity to their children. And those children should not have to go through that. That is beyond torture. And it is something that they're trying to make the rest of us do. And that is the reason why we have what we have. We've had it for thousands of years. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. When are we going to get and understand that we are a collective? We are all interconnected. When are we going to understand this undeniable, fundamental fact, this truth? And when are we going to obliterate it so that we can actually move forward and find true freedom and meaning? We will only feed the destruction, because that's all it is. It's destruction. It's an obliteration. It's a march towards our own extinction. We commit self-suicide when we continue to allow the highest criminals, the greatest of evils, to continue. AOC, Bernie, and all those, they are betrayers. They are the Pied Pipers. They are a tool of evil. They are facilitators. The religions, the religious hierarchy, the religious infrastructure is the same. We must set aside all of this. We must come together as a collective. We must understand that money and politics and all that are not necessary. We can still have our smartphones. We can still have our smart devices. We can still have our modern transportation. We can still have all of it, because we are the ones who innovate, who create, who build. We drive us forward in technology. It is not them. They extract our innovation, our imagination, and they turn it back to extract even more. It is a vicious cycle that is killing us by the minute, by the hour, by the day, by the months, by the years, until we find we will have to face the reality that we have a common collective need to take away the very things that we gave away of our own free will, that we have indoctrinated ourselves to ignore and thereby become ignorant. And ignorance has into stupidity, and stupidity into the vehicle that allows them to continue. That feeds the acceptance of the evil. That is how it works. Without our acceptance, they have nothing. And it is not a large number. It is less than a fraction of our collective that holds all of it, who drives all of it. But that is because we are complicit in our acceptance. We must come to understand we cannot accept. We know that going to the casinos, that the house always wins. We'll consider the house in this way. They are the government. They are the businesses who own the monopoly. They are the ones who set the prices and the rates. Who plunk down and dictate what the value of land is, what the value of everything, including your health, including our health. They control it all because we allow them. We must wake up. Because it doesn't matter if you think you're a white supremacist, because you are equally held in contempt. You are equally exploited. You are equally expendable. And if you live in China, doesn't matter if you're the majority, you are equally expendable. Whether you live in Korea, North Korea, South Korea, Japan, in France, Germany, doesn't matter. You are equally expendable. We must understand we are all equally expendable. It's that simple. We are expendable. We are less than the commodities that they push on us, the things that they push for us to pay for with our intellect, with our spirit, with our labor. That is what it comes down to. And when we come to understand that, and when we come to see that skin color and whatever label you're Korean or you're Chinese or you're Japanese or you're Latino or you're African, or it doesn't matter, or you're Europe, it does not matter. Until we come to understand this, we will continue until we implode upon ourselves and bring about our own extinction. There is no God. There is no rapture. It is us. It is us collectively who bring to fruition a self-fulfilling prophecy, because we, by the demonic evil system. It is us who prop it up.